The monarch butterfly is an iconic species and an important pollinator. It's the Idaho state insect. Since the 1980s, western monarch populations have declined by 99%.
So all over North America, monarchs have co-evolved with milkweed. So they need the milkweed to lay their eggs on because the caterpillars eat the leaves, and it has to be milkweed. Can't be any other plant. And in different areas of North America, they've evolved with different species of milkweed. So here in Idaho, they've co-evolved with this one, which is showy milkweed, but also a couple of other native milkweed species. So if you're trying to help the monarchs in your local area, you should find out what the local, species are and try to plant those. So here in Idaho, our monarch population has absolutely plummeted. And a lot of the problem is lack of overwintering sites in California, which is mainly where they overwinter, but then lack of milkweed all along the way between California and here. So much of our milkweed population has disappeared because of farming practices. The milkweeds used to thrive out in the farmlands, along ditches and so forth. But with farming practices changing and farmers plowing from edge to edge, eliminating plants that used to grow along ditches, used to grow along edges, there's no place for the milkweeds to grow. Combined with the use of pesticides, such widespread use, herbicides to kill the plants and then pesticides, both in home landscapes and on farmlands. It's so widespread. It doesn't stay in one place. It blows with the wind, it moves around, it gets into our bodies. It's just entirely changed the environment around here.
Organizations like the Endangered Species Coalition are working with nurseries, farms, highway districts, parks, and neighborhood associations across the country to restore monarch habitat. These partners are dedicated to collecting seeds and planting native plants, supporting all pollinators. Their work is also benefiting human communities.
It's thrilling to be working with Endangered Species Coalition because through you we can work with a public agency to try to get some of these plants in public spaces. I mean, they belong in people's backyards, but also it's really important to get them out there along roadways, in public parks where people can see them and where they can function, maybe where they can be planted in larger expanses. So it's exciting to me to be doing this work.
Being able to collaborate with the Endangered Species Coalition and with Dragonwing has really improved our success rate. What we're doing here with vegetating these basins and swales, bioplanters in and around parking lots, hardscapes along roadways, it provides green spaces, it improves the aesthetic quality and improves our ability to clean all the stormwater runoff off of our roadway systems before it gets into our rivers, lakes, our groundwater. We won't be using any fertilizers, we're not using herbicides, we're not using pesticides. We're supporting and creating happy and healthy soils by introducing these plants. With ACHD, we do a lot of seeding. But with our collaboration, we've been able to use the donations from the Endangered Species Coalition to buy plants from Dragonwing Nursery so we can plant them in there. So they're starters, they're already to the point of being mature, and the best part is she goes out and collects all local seeds so these plants are already naturalized to these areas, and it makes a huge difference and gives us a jump start coming in with containerized plants. Because when we get started and we seed these, they often come out patchy, and it takes several years of reseeding and reseeding and reseeding to get a fuller, more vegetated look. We get quite a few in there. They'll naturally reseed the area with those species.
Each year I see more people that are excited about coming here, seeing the pollinators on the plants, wanting to reproduce that in their own yards, wanting to help pollinators, and learning more about how native plants can really work in landscaping, how they can, save water and, really have more excitement, more beauty in their yard.
With the Endangered Species Coalition, we're able to do an outreach and be able to educate the public on everything that's going on and all the work that we're doing. And that's critical to making that difference. We've had a lot of success on orange globe mallow, which is a native orange flowering plant, and it is a difficult one to get going, but we've actually got it in some of our basins. I am so thrilled to see that. We have some other ones, like to see the milkweed coming in and the buckwheat seeing that, and then the desert fern coming in and growing. One site we have a native alkaline bee, and it's a ground nesting bee. This particular species helps us identify qualities about the site as they prefer saltier soils. So that lets us know that the next phase in our planting for this site will incorporate some more plants that favor saltier soils.
So of course hummingbirds are attracted to oranges and reds. So we have a native plant, Hummingbird Trumpet, and they're quite attracted to that. But they don't only go to the red plants. And the more variety you can plant, the more likelihood you will have of hummingbirds showing up. Where monarchs are relatively rarely seen here nowadays, we see a lot of swallowtails, a lot of white butterflies, a few other butterflies. I have many customers that are planting milkweeds that are excited about trying to help the monarch population. This year we've had a few sightings of monarchs here on the farm.
So to see those successes and watching people walk by these sites, because we have bike paths and sidewalks and they're right next to the road, watching people stop and lean on the fences and talking and looking and pictures. So to see all those successes, to go from something that was only absorbing and filtering water to creating all of these ecosystem services for our community and for the wildlife has been so rewarding. My hope is this would be a project that is an example on how we can create a built environment that's more conducive to our native environment. We are part of that ecosystem. Our built environment is an ecosystem and it's a part of an ecology, and we need to remember that when we build sites and do any kind of infrastructure, to incorporate that, to allow that bridging gap, and we're not just pushing animals in the living ecosystem out, but rather living with it.
To donate to the Endangered Species Coalition Pollinator Protectors campaign, please follow the link. Your donation will put native plants in the ground for monarchs and other native pollinators across the United States.